Good morning, myself Mathina. I am an assistant professor at our ECE department. So today we are going to discuss about the type of addresses at the computer network. At first, let me start up with the TCP IP model. Coming over here, in the TCP IP model, there are 4 layers: application layer, transport layer, network layer and data link layer. So switching over to the type of addresses, there are classified into 4 types: logical address, physical address, port address and the last one specific address. So the logical address that is used at the data link layer and physical address that is used at the network layer, port address that is used at the transport layer and specific address that is used at the application layer. Let us start our discussion one by one. We will start with logical address. So what is mean by logical address? Before getting to that, let me see what is mean by network. Look at here. Here there are 4 nodes A1, A2, A3, A4. It may be any electronic gadget or it may be a mobile phone, whatever may be, that are all get connected by means of a switch. So this is a network. Again, what is mean by internetwork? Network of network will be called as internetwork. So let me consider a network. So this is the network. How it is associated with logical address. So what does mean by logical address? It is the unique address of the device. It is a unique address of the device that connected at the network. Unique address of the device that get connected. What is the purpose? What is the format? Let me look it out. So here this is the format, usually represented as hexadecimal notation. Hexadecimal notation. That is of 48 bits. That is of 48 bits. So here 48 bit hexadecimal notation is stated here. So who will decide this MAC address? That is so important. So here, in order to understand that, we will divide it into 2 parts. First 24 bits and second 24 bits. The first 24 bits, that is called as OUI. That is nothing but organizational unique identifier. Organizational unique identifier, that is decided by the particular organization. And then coming over to the last part, this address is decided by the manufacturer of the network. That is that decides at the NIC card, that is abbreviated as network interface card. So the logical address, otherwise called as MAC address, it is the unique address of the device resides in the network. What is the necessity of this particular logical or MAC address? Here, in order to identify the device in the network, that is so important. For example, consider here there is a scenario. Am I right? There is a one network, another network. Let it be A. Let it be B. Here in the A network, there are 4 nodes. Okay. So A want to transfer the device to A4. Without the knowledge of MAC address, A1 can't identify A4. That is the purpose of MAC address. MAC is abbreviated as Media Access Control. I am repeating once again. MAC address means Media Access Control. Consider here the packet that passes from network layer to data link layer. We are considering a packet is traveling from network layer to data link layer. Come over here. So when the packet receives, it will add its own part, that is nothing but header part as well as the trailer part. What are the contents of header part? There will be a source MAC address, there will be a destination MAC address. So this will decide where it comes, where it has to go. Okay? And then coming over to the trailer part, it will contain error control bit, flow control bit and access control bit. That is the functionalities of data link layer. So next we are moving over for the physical address. Physical address. So this is called as the otherwise called as the IP address that is used at the network layer. That is used at the network layer. So what are the types of IP address? So here the IP, it is abbreviated as Internet Protocol. It is abbreviated as Internet Protocol. That is a 32 bits. That is I stated here. It is a dot decimal notation. That is of 32 bits. Sometime it is represented in IPv6 also. Here it is IPv4. Here it is IPv6. This is of 128 bits. 128 bits. Then what is the necessity of that IP address? We all know well, IP address is abbreviated as Internet Protocol Address. Let me consider the same scenario. Consider here, this is one type of network that is called as A. Here another network, that is another type of B. That are all get connected by means of a router. We know well that can't get connected by means of a switch. What is the reason? That means that are all different type. This belong to one type and this belong to one type. That can't be get connected by a switch. So we are moving for router. So the IP address, that may be address of a device or a switch or maybe a router. So the network, two different network are connected as network by means of this router or one. So here let me consider one scenario. A1 want to transfer its informations to the okay. Right. Here A1, that is the node, resides at the first network that want to transfer the information to A4 as well as B3. There will not be any issues in transferring the data from A1 to A4 because it will contain source MAC address as well as the destination MAC address. It will reach us. But when it comes to the router, it won't identify MAC address. It will interpret only IP address. Then only it is not possible at the data link layer. That is the necessity of IP address when the router uses the IP address. For example, this is the IP address of this one, 192.168.0.3. Here itself, 192.168.0.4. So this is the address of A and this is the address of B. That is contained at the router. So automatically the packet that emerged from A1 will reach us the switch and it will reach us the router. Automatically it will reach us the B3. That is the necessity of IP address here. So next we will discuss about the port address as well as the specific address. Before getting to the next type of port address, let me differentiate the logical address as well as the physical address. So we know well, logical address is the unique address of the device that is necessary to identify the device within the network coming over to physical address. So physical address, it is otherwise called as IP. It is necessary to identify the device that all over the network, otherwise called as across the network. So IP, that is abbreviated as Internet Protocol, that is a Internet layer. Shall I change the logical address? Yes, you can change, but not over all time. You can spoof it when it is reset, but you can't alter the logical address. Physical address, that is decided by the network administrator only, so you can alter the physical address. So logical address, that is unique, you can't alter, you can spoof only at the restarting time. Next, coming over to the port address. What is the necessary? Here, process to process application is necessary. Process to process. So, end to end communication, I am coming over for the port address. Here, the port address again classified into three types, that is well-known ports and registered ports and dynamic ports. How it is represented? It is normally represented as a 16-bit, a normal, a decimal number. So where it is applied? For the process to process application. Coming over here, the well-known port that ranges from, that is 0 to 1023. Coming over to the registered ports that vary from 1024 to 49151, and the last one dynamic port 49152 to 65,535. Let me discuss one by one. Let me start it with the well-known port. So what is the necessity of well-known port? That mean it for standard protocols. That mean it for standard protocols and particular type of the application. So coming over to the standard protocol, I gave some examples for the 80 that mean it for HTTPS and 21 that mean it for FTP. Next, the registered ports that ranges from 1024 to 491p. So here that mean it for ordinary user processors. I gave some examples to 1863 that mean it for MSN and 8080 that mean it for FTP. The Microsoft is normally employing the values from 1500 to 2500. And the last one, dynamic port. The dynamic port, right. The dynamic port numbers, okay. You will start pannirava. So the dynamic port, the ranges from 49152 to 65,535. Here you can use these numbers without registration. You need not to register. And one more time, that are all meaning for short time users only. Short time users only. So for the process to process applications, you have used the port address, that is a 16-bit, and the last one specific address, and the last category specific address that concern over the application layer. So we know well when we compare OS layer with a TCP IP model, and the last three layers are merged and it will be called as the application layer. So that specific address is assigned by users only. That are all assigned by the user only. So again it is divided into two parts. One it is URL. Another one we are well familiar about the email address. From port address again we are coming over for the specific address that is used at the application layer. We all know well compared to OSI as well as the TCP IP model, here there are 7 layers, here only 4 layers. The first 2 layers are merged and it will be called as data link, and the network layer, transport layer, and the last the 3 layers are merged and it will be called as the application layer. So the specific address that concern over the application layer only. So who is designing? That is designed by the users only. So coming over here, there are 2 types. One it is URL, that mean to access the website document or any other website things, and then the email address, we are all well familiar about that. So the URL we know well, uniform resource locator, that can be several types depending upon the importance too. So these are the 4 type of addresses, and coming over here, that is mean for hop to hop application. This is for, that is a source to destination application, and this is for the process to process, and this is for the last specifically for the application oriented. Okay, I think I completed all the type of addresses. Thank you for listening.